Hey guys, this is part one in the Fire and Ice series. There's 3 parts to it. Please, if you're new, subscribe. Hit that like button. And tell your buddies about this, okay? We're going to do farm work, and we're going to do some outdoor fun stuff. And we're going to talk about God, read the Bible a little bit. Spread the word. We got a spiritual warfare battle going on. The Christians got to stick together. God bless you. How's everybody doing? My name is Jet, and I welcome you to another episode of Woods and Words. And I hope everybody had a good spring break, and hope your life's going good, and you're back to work, and the kids are getting back to school and all that. We were on spring break this week in Kentucky, and that camper you see here, if you walked out there, you would see it's pretty beat up from hail damage. I'm talking about golf ball size hail damage. We went to Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, so it's down there in Alabama, okay, on the Panhandle, and real nice RV park, and we'll have to go again someday to maybe experience it, although I'm getting out of the camper deal. I don't know if this one's going to be totaled or what's going to happen with it, but it's pretty beat up, and so was everybody else that was down there. So I'm just going to briefly tell you our saga that happened. We were gone for 4 days, and what I'm about to tell you will seem like we was gone for 6 months. It's a story of fire and ice. That's what I'm going to call this episode, and you're getting ready to find out why. It should be called Fire and Ice and a Man Named David. He plays a small part in this story. But so our journey began. We decided it's about a 9-hour drive, 8.5, 9, from Kentucky to Gulf Shores. So we determined that we would stop halfway and stay one night at a state park that I found on the maps, Oak Mountain State Park. Now the website looked like it was 50 amp. This camper right here takes 50 amp service. Some of them take 30. So we get there. Again, one night stay, probably about 2 in the afternoon, something like that. Real pretty place. A tornado, I guess, had went through there sometime in the past. You can see where the trees were knocked down. They were cutting trees, cleaning it up. So, we rode our bikes around and just kind of checked the place out. It would be a nice place to stay for 3 or 4 days. They even had one section as we was driving in for archery, which we like to shoot bows, as well as guns and different things. But this place was set up for archery. We didn't have our bows with us, but I'll go back someday to that place. I guarantee you that. Because you could fish. They had a lake. There's bikes. There's a lot of people riding bikes and stuff, which we took ours. But I tell you, it was supposed to rain that night. So it was kind of chilly. So if it rains and you have a camper, you need to roll your windows, keep them down or whatever, or the rain's going to come in. So it's nice to have an air conditioner for that reason. The weather was cool enough, you really didn't need it for temperature-wise. But then I quickly found out when I hooked up all my electric and stuff that it was just a 30 amp. So ours was not going to, our electrical connector would not work with the campground pedestal. So then we found out it was going to rain. I mean, I've been fine with just glorified tent camping. That's what a camper is without electric, right? But when we found out it was going to rain, it was like, well, we better do something. So we called around. Ended up with 10 minutes to spare. We were able to get an adapter to make our camper compatible with the 30 amp service. And we were able to use our air conditioner. It doesn't take showers or anything, but that's okay. I'm gonna move you a little closer to me. Yeah, I'll get in there. So that was just a little hiccup. I thought, hey, if it's the worst thing that happens on our trip, that'll be fine. I'll take this, no biggie. And so I'm trying to think. We had our own supper that night. Then we get up the next morning, hook up, take off. Now we were thinking it's about a 4-hour drive to our destination in Orange Beach. We get about 20 minutes out. First thing right off the bat, bam, traffic delays. Unbeknownst to me, several miles up was, I guess, an 18-wheeler went off the road. Now, I don't believe he was hurt because when we finally got up there 2 hours later, so we was late for 2 hours, going really like 5 miles an hour. It was stop and go, stop and go. It was terrible. It's a terrible way to start your trip. No, it's so sick and inconvenience, right? But I think I saw the truck driver walking on the side of the road with a tow truck guy, so I hope it was him. He seemed okay, but stressed. So his day was worse than mine, right? And we keep our wits about it. You know, it's frustrating, yes, but I mean, that's life. It doesn't always go your way. All right, so we continue driving. So what should have been a 4-hour drive, I think turned into like 6.5, something like that. We get 1 mile from our destination. I've got a 2000, or did have, I don't know if I do have or did have, a 2015 Ram Cummins automatic diesel truck, 3/4 ton. I'll be honest, I'm a Toyota guy, but they don't make a 3/4 ton for sale in the United States. So my camper here is a toy hauler, and it really needs to have a 3/4 ton truck. So that's why I've got the Ram, or did have. I don't know. I really don't know if I have it, if it's mine. I guess technically it's mine right now. So that's coming up. So we get a mile from our destination. There's a toll bridge in Orange Beach. It's 2 lanes, 1 lane going, 1 lane coming. There was no shoulder. Literally, as we're slowing down, coming up to here's the toll. As we're slowing down, my engine light comes on. I'm like, oh my goodness. My transmission goes out. I think it's a solenoid. We actually had it replaced like 2 weeks ago. So it's a big problem with Ram apparently. And I know a lot of their transmissions aren't that great. But anyway, it's a good truck, seemed like. It goes out. I'm stuck in 4th gear. I roll up to the toll booth. I know I can't pull over. There's nowhere to pull over with a big truck and camper. Pay the toll. I look at my wife and I'm like, and this bridge we have to go over is a steep grade, okay, going into Orange Beach. She's over there like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars behind us because it's a tourist destination. I'm getting straight. I can just feel it. I can just feel the tightness, right? I know we're in trouble. We have to take off in 4th gear pulling a heavy camper, loaded down pretty much. And it takes off barely. You know, you're giving it fuel and it's just whining and doesn't want to do anything because it's in 4th gear, not 1st gear. Finally, you slowly get going, start making our way up the grade. We get actually farther than I thought we would. We got about 3/4 way up the hill, maybe almost 7/8 way up the hill. And she's whining and it's starting to slow down from I think I peaked out at maybe 18 mile an hour. Slows down to 15. It slows down like 10. I know I'm dead in the water. Oh my gosh. I thought I'm going to put a 4-wheel drive low lock because that's your most torquey gear. Too late. It's on fire. We are smoking up. Engine shuts off. No brakes. I hit the emergency brake. Luckily it held because we were on a steep grade with a trailer. All these cars behind us. We're almost off this bridge. Get the wife and kid out. And I've got my dog in a dog box in a camper. So I get out. I didn't know we was really on fire. I knew it was smoking bad. We get out. It's on fire. My wife is like, it's on fire. I look behind the passenger wheel. It's on fire. I see flames. I go get the dog out of the camper. Put him on a leash. Give it to her. They're safe. That's first priority. Don't ever let materials be your first priority. It's always people, animals, whatever. So I had remembered there's an fire extinguisher, a little bitty one that came with the camper. So I grab it out and pulled the pin. And I remember this from the fire service. Pull, aim, what is it? Squeeze and spray, I think. Sweep. Okay? Pass. But anyway, few squirts under the hood. This other guy behind us was a firefighter, off duty. He came up to me, didn't know I was a firefighter, retired. And I was like, I got this. I mean, it was really not much. put it out, but then it relit. And, but I guess it melted away all the wiring and hoses and all this stuff. So it flamed up again. I put it out again. Fire department rolls in, and I told them we're good. And of course, they don't know me, and they get out and check it. And they see, okay, it's out. I think they're disappointed because it's not on fire. But anyway, so at that point, I'm upset. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm upset, man. This is like, is this really happening? You know, it's like every time I turn around on this trip, boom, boom, boom. This is like three things. Okay, the most major thing, obviously, so far. So, police officer gets there, and I'm making sure. I mean, there's only like a 4-foot wall keeping you from going off the side of this bridge. I'm making sure my son and my wife are not near that, right? And we're literally, I'll tell you something funny. This young couple walks up to my wife, who's about 50 foot behind the camper. I think she's talking to some people back behind us parked. Because we got this road blocked for probably backed up 5 miles now. And they just want to pet the dog. He's a 5-month-old. Bold as a little 5-month-old beagle. And anyway, so I asked the police officer if we can get towed to the campground. I thought he'd say no. They took care of us. He said, I can see your campground from the top of this bridge. It's right over there. I've never been there. So he said, it's up to the tow guy. A tow truck gets there to, I believe it'd be a 1-ton Ram tow truck. And he's like, he's my kind of guy, man. He kind of redneck, country boy, wild dude. And he hooks up. He said, I'll give it a shot. It's a 1-ton. Keep in mind, trying to pull another huge truck and camper. Now he's gonna go down this grade now, right? He